in this video, we go for a slide in Daily Race A. Daily Race B, we have to take avoiding action to avoid a crash. And in Daily Race C, we'll talk about crashes. This one is a weird one. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2025. This week we have some repeat combinations, and first up is the Audi TT at Lago Maggiore West Reverse. Yes, we have done this before, believe it or not. We've actually done it twice before. First up though, 4 laps here on a weak slipstream, a grid start with a false start check, comfort soft tyres, and of course a bot is on. Although you can add a wing and add a livery if you'd like to do that, and you can see that in the background. Now, if you do not like this Audi TT, and trust me, there'll be a lot of you that do not like this Audi TT, there's sometimes some to jump to Daily Race B or Race C accordingly if you want to try them out. However, and like always every single week, I do every single race, so the key statistics for this race are as follows. We've used this track twice before. Believe it or not, it was using this exact car before as well. Different physics, of course. It's not a top 10 used combo. We last used this track on the 25th of September 2023, nearly 2 years ago now. In terms of issues, we have huge weight transfer, and we have a deadly last corner, which we discussed actually in a previous week, where we've got the exact same barrier that protrudes out and actually causes a lot of carnage. Without further ado then, let's jump into this race and let's see how much carnage actually ensues, because this car, oh, it likes to be a boat. Right, here we are then at the start. We got Kiwi in pole position, Norman in P2. We're starting down in P number 10. Hold that handbrake. Traction control. There we go, Tidge. Set to 1. And then here we go. Waiting for those lights to go out. There we go. Off we go. You can see traction control helping well there as we change gear, drop the traction control down to 0, and kick off this race as we head towards turn 1. A very hard turn 1, I might say, as well. Now, some people hate this corner. I absolutely love this corner. So as we come into here, I'm looking to get on the inside of everybody as best as I can. And Ugandan there on the left-hand side, we're trying to get on the inside of them. Sparks Ferry hung out to dry a little bit in the yellow TT as we head up to this right-hander then, and nowhere to go, so we're back out here then as we go into this braking zone, slowing the car down. Who's that trying to go around the outside? Max Power trying to go around the outside there. Is that going to work is the question. Not quite as we go into this left-hander. I do have to leave some space there on that right-hand side as we continue on through here. Then we're going to continue on out of here. Max Power does make it work in here. Look at that. Look at the momentum Max Power carried there. We're going to go into this left-hander then. There were 3 wide now, 2 wide up ahead. And we're going to go into this right-hander, and you're seeing how much the weight transfers in this car. Ugandan, they're trying to catch us. We go down towards Banky Boy for the first time of asking then as we go into this left-hander on the inside of Max Power. You want to really get on the inside here at Banky Boy to maximize your lap time as we continue on out of there. I'm not in the slipstream, so I am going to lose out here. Weak slipstream is very strong indeed, which sounds very strange to say. Weak is strong, strong is even stronger, and obviously custom is slightly strong, and then we got real, which is, well, non-existent, should we say. Right, we continue on through the kink then and head up to this left-hander, which is where we were last week, of course, as we go on the brakes, slowing the car down, looking to get on the inside, similar to what I did last week, although there's not quite as much actually going on here. We do get the inside of Max Power as we go into here then, and we stay in third gear, accelerating out of there, and Huggy was out wide before, so we're looking to try and get on the inside of Huggy if we can. Slight tap on Huggy. I thought I heard a barrier contact, but there wasn't, because everyone is continuing on here, so we're all good then. But we do get bump drafted from behind by Heaton, which gives us a little bit of speed here. We get past Max Power, we get past Huggy hopefully here as we head towards turn 1. On the outside line here, we go for last and late breakers. A little bit of drifting there, which is not planned, but I'll take it. We do get past Huggy, and we are up into P8 then, and what we will do now is we're going to fast forward a little bit here and try and catch up to the next pack, which also has a lot of cars in here. So we get to this point here then, we're going to go to 5th gear, abuse that curb on the inside, and really put our foot to the floor. Sparks is off, Shadow is off. Now in my head, I'm thinking about dirty tyres when that happens, so they're going to have more understeer. Hopefully I can actually maximize that advantage. And you can see there, they still went out wide, even though they're on the inside here. And I'm going to lose slipstream again, because Very Brisket goes on to that racing line, which is all fair enough. Don't get me wrong, but I really could do with some slipstream. So we're going to lose out to Shadow then as we head towards the kink. We have to pull in behind then as we go into here. So we go through the left, and then you can see there a little bit of understeer up ahead. Sparks has really lost it there with the weight transfer. Nowhere to go. Norman's lost it as well. I tried to avoid hitting Norman, and unfortunately, I go for a crash there. So completely binned off there. Obviously, it was just an accident by Sparks. Sparks couldn't do anything there. Once you lose this car, it's very hard to pull back. But we're back down to P12. Last, and you see there Sparks waiting for me there, so I do go back up to P11. So I appreciate the waiting up there, Sparks. Good sportsmanship. Right, through the right we go. You see there we got a track limit penalty. We just cut the left a little bit too much. Gonna have dirt on our tyres as well, which is forcing some of this understeer. But nothing much really happens in this race, if I'm honest with you. What I do want to show you though is where the penalty line is, which is there, which is very brutal, if I do say so myself. It's uphill in a very low horsepower car. You normally need momentum to go up there, so yeah, I say very brutal. We're going to come through the last corner then here. We've already taken the penalty now. We're going to head towards the line. Ugandan decides to go in the pits. Max Power decides to pit wall himself because, hey, Max Power doing Max Power things. And we're going to head towards the line then. And we actually are going to get P9 then with that pit stop from Ugandan. I actually quite like this race. There is actually quite a bit of racing there that can happen. In terms of scores then, 6 out of 8 for this daily race. As I say, I do quite like this one. I like Lago Maggiore reverse anyway, and I know some people don't, but it is what it is here. Let's go to the lap then, brought to you by Coach Dave Academy and the Delta app. Make sure you do check that out in the description below, as they have partners with this video. And brought you this qualifying lap. Lovely support them. So as we go towards turn number 1, we have the crossing of the white lines, okay? This is your brake mark. You actually want to lift off just before you get to that. And then when you dab the brakes, the front should go down. The rear will get very light. And it should oversteer a little bit towards the corner, which is what you want. You want to get on the inside, abuse all that curb. Stay in 4th gear. It's all about carrying momentum there. The more momentum you carry, the faster this lap will be because you're going uphill at that point and it's a very low horsepower car. Through the right we go then. And as we get to this point here, notice how we can now straight line the brake in because we've cut the inside a little bit. So the end of the curve is our brake marker. We're going to brake, we're going to drop to 3rd gear and then start to release the brakes as we get towards the curb. Watch how I do it then. You can see where this is on chase cam because you can't see the curb anymore. So we trail brake, release the brakes, let the car roll a little bit, then go on throttle. Now we want to go on the curb but come off it before the double curb goes to a single curb, okay. Now I've got to 4th gear here. I'm still in debates whether it's 4th or 3rd, if I'm brutally honest with you. 4th gives you more stability and less understeer. 3rd, you have a bit more power. Now, if you can get round without the understeer in 3rd gear, arguably it might be slightly quicker. However, 4th gear seemed to work this particular lap. It's a ghost of this lap, so, you know, it made it onto the leaderboards. We continue on then, and what we're going to look for now is a turning marker on the right-hand side. So we have this catch fence, and then we have this gantry here, which has nothing on top of it, okay? Very obvious when you're racing. So once that leaves the screen, then turn in. Remember, this car is going to understeer just because of the way it is, okay? So as you turn in, you're going to lift off a little bit to sort of reduce that understeer and take a nice line for this right-hander. So as we go to here, we're going to lift off again, abuse all this curb, stay on the inside. You may want to go to 5th gear there. I started doing that in the race because it felt a little bit better. On the right side, we have the grass, sand, and yellow curb all interject at that point right there. That is your brake marker. At least that is what you're looking for in terms of going on the brakes. Now, because I went too far to the left here, I'm having to brake a bit earlier, but that is your brake marker. So use it as a distance marker if you need to. You want to get really on the inside here and instantly go on the throttle, okay? Yes, you suffered understeer everywhere else on the lap, but because of Banky Boy, the fact it's cambered, it should mean that you won't get as much understeer, and you can see that we made it out fine. So as we go to here, we're lifting off a little bit. You can do this flat, but it's very scary to do it flat. We make sure we straddle the sausage. And as we get to this left-hander here, we've got 2 brake markers. So we can use the white line there on the circuit, or we can use the arrow on the right-hand side. It's actually the 3rd to last arrow on the right-hand side. Now, I would recommend using the line, which sounds really weird because the arrow is more prominent, but the line is always there, and obviously if you're on the inside or outside, it's very obvious to see. We trail brake all the way to the corner. We let the car roll a little bit, trying to maintain a little bit of speed there with a little bit of throttle, and then what we're looking for now is that orange painted barrier. The exact same marker we used last week in the Focus, okay? So we're going to go hard on the brakes here. We're going to stay in 3rd gear, believe it or not. Because this car is front-wheel drive, it's very easy to understeer if you're in 2nd gear and you're hitting the rev. So 3rd gear is what we're going to do then. Trail brake into here. Instantly go on the throttle then when we get towards the exits. And as we go through here, I stopped turning there, and I really shouldn't have done. But I carried on turning. I could have maintained full throttle. Instead, I nearly killed myself and the lap. Even so, we're going to head towards the line then. This is a 144.699, and you can follow that one on the leaderboard as well. We jump to daily race B then, where we're in Group 3 machinery. I'm actually in a liveried car, and we're at Watkins, Glen, the full circuit. Well, we're doing 5 laps here. It's custom slipstream, rolling starts, racing hard tyres, and you can, of course, adjust that brake balance in these cars. And I chose the BMW M6, the endurance model as well. The BMW M6 is so fast at the circuit. It really is. Now, I've used this track 16 times. It's the 5th most used track. Track car combo 6 times. It is not a top 10 used combo. We last used this track on the 16th of June. However, before this combo wasn't used for quite a while. It's at the start of January 24. In terms of issues, hard tyres are very slippy. I really hate the use of hard tyres in Group 3. It's actually quite hard to overtake because it's a lot of fast corners. There's no really hard braking corners, and usually after a hard braking zone, there's only a long acceleration period, and the slipstream, the custom slipstream, then allows them to get back past. Without further ado then, let's jump into this race and let's have a look exactly what happens. Right, here we are for race B then. Huggy starting up pole position. We're starting down in P14 here. If you want to join this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. But we kick off with this race with some fast forwarding first of all, because the rolling start is way too far away in terms of gaps. That's how it gives us bump draft towards the chicane. Then we go onto the brakes and just make sure you don't hit the barrier like Mass Power did behind. And if you missed that, we're going to have a look at that in the bloopers, of course, which is at the end of the video. We do catch up to Uganda now, and of course the second half of this lap is where all the cars come closer and closer and closer together because the slipstream brings everybody closer together. Now we've got Charles going a little bit wide there, Ugandan looking on the inside of the McLaren then as we continue on through here and head up to the long right-hander here then as we go on to the brakes. I take a wide line here. The hope was to try and get the momentum out the corner then. Can we do that is the question. We do get some, not quite as much as we wanted though. We are in the slipstream though, and we do have a little bit of a run, so we're going to head towards the right-hand side here then. Unfortunately for me, I missed my braking zone completely, and I decided to make sure I avoid Ugandan there by putting my foot to the floor. Now, some people will see that and go, you tried to take Ugandan out. Or if it was you, you go and you experience a similar thing. No, sometimes people are just trying to avoid you because they've just missed the braking. That's exactly what happened there with me. The Ugandan was very well aware of what's happening as well, so just moved out the way. And we'll have a look at that from Ugandan's perspective shortly. Lap number 3 then. My race is, of course, well, I thought it was over completely and have to redo it. However, we've got some racing coming up here. Sammy Snake Racing, 4-second penalty there. We're going to go on the inside of them, so they just let me go there. We've got Norman up ahead, who we've raced quite a few times in these daily races, and that's who we're going to race in this daily race. As I say, I was going to do it again just because I wanted to experience the actual race here, whether you can overtake, can't overtake. However, Norman's going to give us that perfect opportunity here as we race for P14. And up ahead, we've got McLaren as well of Benbow. And we'll find out what happened to Benbow in the bloopers at the end of this video. So through the last corner we go then. Norman goes defensive here. Now, I wasn't going to go for the overtake in towards turn 1 initially because, well, slipstream. So you get past them at turn number 1. Guess what? They're going to come flying back past you with a slipstream. Although that's what I thought. Anyway, so let's see if I can do it here by staying behind Norman and really putting my foot to the floor then. And we are going to catch up to him here then. Look at the run that we have. We go towards that left-hand side. But we just don't have enough power then to really capitalize on that. We go onto the brakes then and we have to fall out of that to overtake. And we got Italian off there into the barrier. No idea what happened to them. They're in a Lamborghini, which can be kind of sketchy here anyway with that chicane. So I put in 2 and 2 together here, and I've definitely made 4, I think. But we'll find out later on. In towards this right-hander we go then, lap number 4 here, and we've still got to pass Norman as we continue like that. Norman has a huge oversteer moment there, so that's going to give us a bit of an advantage. Norman goes middle of the road. We're going to go towards the right-hand side then, so Norman takes that racing line hard on the brakes, this time making the braking zone, and Norman goes round the outside and defends that so nicely there. Beautiful defense from the Polish driver as we go up to this left-hander. Slowing the car down now and balancing the throttle a little bit because you've got to be careful on the exit. As you see, Norman there gets a bit of a wiggle. We're going on the inside of Norman now then as we go into this left-hander. Got to give room on that outside. Still side by side. So good racing here as we go into the brakes then. And we're going for the cutback if we can do it now because we can't overtake anywhere apparently. Norman clips that barrier on the left-hand side then. And we're on the inside heading towards turn number 1. And because I saw what happened last lap, Norman was able to defend. This is what I'm thinking for this lap. I stay ahead of Norman. I should be able to do it. Norman tries round the outside then. Loses some momentum there with a little bit of a wiggle with the car. And what we're going to do is head onto the back straight then. And what we will do actually is fast forward to the back straight. Here we go. Norman is catching me up slowly but surely. But is it enough? No. And that's the problem here with Watkins Glen. It's really hard to overtake because the straight's just not long enough. The power of these cars isn't big enough. And therefore, you are just struggling to make any overtakes work. Now, it could just be this race, but I do feel like Watkins, you do struggle to overtake on this kind of circuit, just due to the fast-flowing corners. In terms of race score then, 5 out of 8, and all the details of the scoring system is down below in a pinned comment. Now, how do you do your lap here? Well, I'm going to show you. This lap is brought to you by Coach Dave Academy and the Delta app. Make sure you check that out in the pinned comment and the description down below. Honestly, it'll help you improve no end. Right, here we go then. Turn number 1 on the left-hand side, Armco. 4 to 3, that is your brake marker, plus 3 brake balance. If you didn't see the graphic, it was there on the right-hand side. This is your brake marker. My common brake marker here at Watkins. So we drop to second gear. We want to get on the inside and then go to third gear before we go on to the throttle there. And that you need to make sure you stay either on the yellow or orange and red curbing here, okay? You can go a bit off it where that concrete is directly on the line of the BMW, but you can't go any further over than that. Now you just rev the car to the limits here. We're going to use all the curbing on the inside there just to get it around a little bit more. And what we're going to do is head towards the chicane. Now, here at the chicane, we're looking for the 300 board. What you end up doing here is you don't go fully on the brakes, or if you're going to go fully on the brakes, you need to start turning into the chicane quite quickly, and you need to point towards where the barrier is. So it can get sketchy here. Let's see how I do it then. So do we go fully on the brakes? Not quite there. We trail brake a little bit, down the brakes after the first curb, and then accelerate through the corner. We come off the curbing then, and the start of the next curb for the long right-hander. This is our either lift-off marker or brake marker. Now, what you're going to see me do is something slightly different, which is because I'm trying to be aggressive and get on the leaderboard. However, for consistent laps here, just lift off at this point, let the car turn in. I dab the brakes a little bit then, and what I'm looking for here now is the escape road or that marshal box. Okay, now these cars have slightly less power than they used to, so the marshal box is a bit too far away now in terms of an accelerating marker. The escape road, a much better marker to accelerate. So use that one as your marker. Start going full throttle. I'm in 4th gear at this point if you haven't noticed. Do slight lifts off and just make sure you don't run too wide on the exit there because there is a track limit penalty for that one. For this left-hander, we're at the 200 board. Now, for this one, you want to point towards the corner as you go on the brakes. Because it's a long left-hander, you point towards it. You're sort of aiming for a V, but then if you get it in right, you don't do a V, you stay on the inside line. Let me show you how you do this then. So low start braking there. I go to second, then trail brake. And then the end of the catch fence, as it hits the middle of your screen, the end of it, that is your accelerator marker, okay? So middle of the screen, start accelerating. I'm in 3rd gear now, as you can see right there. I'm going to start accelerating. Now, these turbocharged front-engine rear-wheel drive cars, they rotate a tiny bit, and that's why they're so good here, because it just rotates round. We can continue on to the next corner. For this one then, on the right-hand side, we have the 100 board or Gran Turismo 7 sign. Now, because it's uphill braking, you can brake that little bit later, and that's what I'm going to do here. I actually found the tighter line to be the quicker line here now in the BMW M6. Didn't used to be, but the tighter line appears to work very well indeed, so that's what I'm aiming for here. That does mean our accelerating marker of the past, the marshal box, now is more towards the edge of the screen rather than the center of the screen, but it's still a good accelerating marker, okay. Notice that I'm half throttle at the moment. It's gone a bit down here. It's frame rate, frame difference issue here, and replay is, of course, a little bit behind as well. So we are not going 100% throttle until we're near the exit there because you will suffer some oversteer. We're going to head towards the next corner then. On the left-hand side, we've got the 300 board right there. We've got the 200 board right there. And it's just after this 200 board on the left-hand side is your next brake marker. Now, you actually don't want to turn in towards this corner. You want to stay to the left-hand side as much as possible and then trail brake into the corner a little bit, okay? If you turn in too early for this, you're going to run out wide and actually get some oversteer. Notice that I stayed out late for a bit longer, go for a later clip of the curb, and I didn't go 100% throttle straight away, and I even had a wiggle on the exit because it's very easy to oversteer on that corner. There's a few weird bumps. Now, speaking of bumps, there's one weird one on this one, which I'll explain in a second. First off, we've got the dead tree on the right or the 100 board. It's not quite at the 100 board, it's just before it, but the dead tree is bob on in terms of a brake marker. Aim towards the corner and go on the brakes. Trail brake as much as you can. As you go on the accelerator, as you go through here, there's a bump, okay, there, and it forces a lot of rear action in all the cars. Be careful of that, it will cause spins. There we go, Tidge. On the left-hand side, then, we have the 100 board. Only the left-hand side, because it's as it hits the edge of your screen, you're going to turn in. You'll lift off a tiny bit. You need to make sure you clip the inside curb, and then the car will rotate round fine, and then you can keep full throttle then once you clip the curb. And there we go. Over towards the left side we go. We have the tyre wall to Armco marker there. Very common marker I use at Watkins here. And literally, we're braking as we get to that marker. Similar to the previous corner, although we're dropping in gear this time, we need to make sure we clip the curb on the inside. Once we clip the curb, we can accelerate through the corner. It just pulls you around a little bit. It's very nice. So we clip the curb, and then full throttle. We can head towards the line then, and this is a 1:45.7, I think it is, and you can follow this one on the leaderboard as well. Going to jump to a daily race C then, where we're at Suzuka. Of course we are, for the billionth time. And we are in Group 2, machinery for this one then. We're doing 12 laps with custom slipstream. It's a rolling start, racing soft and medium tyres. Both are required. ×2 fuel, ×3 tyre wear. And of course we are in Group 2 machinery. So I chose the Honda NSX for this one because it looked like it was going to be the best. However, it appears there's been a bot change and the GTR is the best. I'll explain that shortly. So we've been here a billion times, or 26 as it's officially known. First in terms of times used. Track car combo 3 times. Not a top 10 used combo. Last used on the 30th of June. The tyres do get shredded on this combo, and there's not many overtaking spots. There really isn't. It's actually quite hard. Although if you're in an NSX versus the GTR will win nearly every time on the straights. Let's jump into this race then, and let's have a look exactly what happens, and I'll talk about that Nissan a little bit more. Right, here we are then for this final race in Group 2. I'm starting in P14. We've got Sammy Snake starting on pole. And if you are enjoying this video, remember, hit like, subscribe to the channel, stay in touch with all the latest content. Right, let's fast forward towards turn number 1. Here we go then. I'm sort of speaking a bit behind here, but we're back on schedule as we leave turn 1 then. We're going to head in towards the S's, so in a line of cars, because this is what the rolling start does then. So as we go through here, I'm thinking, okay, I've got a bit of a run on Shadow. I'll try on the outside. No, that doesn't work, Tidge. That doesn't work. It actually compromised me there with Simon, who's gone to my left-hand side then. Unfortunately, around the outside doesn't work for them either. As we continue on through here then. Now Shadow goes out wide there. I'm nowhere to go with that GTR ahead, so I have to back out of this as we go through Degna 1. That's what weird's going to happen here. So we go to Degna 2, and I'm looking at it now. I mean, you can see this, like, Shadow gets hit from behind, but arguably from me, but not from me. As you saw there, I was nowhere near Shadow, but gets putted off. The only reason I really know about this is because afterwards Shadow mentioned it in Discord. I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know I even hit you there. Now, looking at it back now, you can just see the slight nudge there in the distance, but I'm not sure anybody should even wait in that scenario because of the way it handles itself. I mean, the service was just being laggy anyway. It's just very odd in how it happened. Simon goes on by then. The GTR, as you can see, much quicker than this NSX nowadays, which is unfortunate because, yeah, I think this NSX is quite good in terms of race pace, but qualifying-wise, it's rubbish compared to that GTR. It's just so much quicker than Nissan in front. You're going to see that as we leave here then, as we hit the start-finish line. Look behind. Look at that rear-view mirror. Max Power is catching me very quickly, but isn't going to go for the overtake at this moment in time. Up ahead then, Simon's gone for the move on Norman as we go through this left-hander and left themselves open with me. Coming along the outside there. Can I get it stopped? Can I get round there? Oh, we're still overlapped here as we go through this left-hander. But the GTR then is going to get away from me then as we about to start lap number 3. So you can see a little bit of racing. It is still hard to overtake in my opinion. I'm demonstrating that right now with some of this racing. You know, it's really difficult if you're in the NSX especially to overtake. Now, if everyone's in a GTR, you're going to have the same situation. So, I mean, that nearly goes off at turn 1. Very common mistake to happen there where you just brake that little bit too late and go wide. Just get the run on Norman, though, as we go into the S's here. Well, it's lag. So you can see how bad the servers are. They're all over the place at the moment as we continue on through here. I thought it was a bigger carnage than it actually was. Right, through the right we go then, and then over towards the left-hand side. And we can settle down now a little bit. Settle down and get back into this race. And as we head towards Degna 1, as we go into here then, anything going to happen? Not quite. Going to Degna. Oh, hello. Oh, the GTR's off. Simon gets past Norman and then bins it. That is unfortunate indeed then. We're going to head towards the hairpin here. Norman went defensive. I'm thinking right round the outside. This is a possible move to do if you can carry the speed. Now with the downforce of this car, it's much more possible. And I did it. Round the outside at the hairpin. Yeah, oh yes, I take those. I do take those. I appreciate the space given by Norman as well there. Very well played to you. We're going to head towards the left-hander here at Spoon, and we are still ahead, so we are going to get that position up into P10. I'm thinking, excellent. Right, I can sprint towards the next group now. Not a problem at all. Tidge? No. We're going to head towards the chicane then here, and I'm just going to outbrake myself that bit too much and go off in the, well, not actually gravel, the tarmacy, dirty, grassy area place. I have no idea what you want to call it. Anyway, we're going to head into the pits now then, because I was like, well, I've got dirt on my tyres. It's going to compromise me even more. What I failed to remember here is how bad the tyre wear here is when you're in Group 2. Yeah, because it's quite bad. Even so, we're going to push ourselves a little bit. Very next lap, Norman's come in the pits there. So we've gained, you can see how much track position you gain on the soft tyres as well. So the undercut might be there for some people. We'll see how bad it actually is. Up ahead, we have a yellow flag. Shadow's gone off the circuit there. So we're going to get another position. Shadow's having a nightmare in this particular race. We'll find out exactly what happened with that incident at the end of this video. So we catch up to Muscaffi here. I just want you to show some of the dirty air really here. So as we go to this left-hander, you're just going to see the car is just not going to want to turn. There's still dirty air here in Group 2. Obviously, they carry so much more downforce. And yeah, it just costs you time. It also costs you tyre wear. Now, unfortunately, my tyre wear did start going off there. I managed to catch that. I have no idea how I managed to catch that. Max Power's going to get the move done then as we continue on through here. We've got Damien behind next up. Uganda's going to pits on lap number 7 as is Huggy from the medium tyres. It is very much more beneficial to run the mediums that bit longer, I think, here. Damien's on our inside as we go through 130R. Gets the job done there. Beautiful move by Damien here as we go onto the brakes. We're down to P12 right now. All that's in my mind is tyre conservation. If I can get to the end, I'll be happy. And that is my goal then. So we continue on with this race. Fast forward a little bit here then. Up to P11 we go. Turn number 1 then. And we get hit from behind. Up ahead there's contact as well. I don't know whether this is all server related, what's happening or what. So we're just taking it as it is at this moment in time as we go into the left and the right here. So we're into P9, weirdly. You know, saying we were off earlier on. Into P9 now. We'll take it, but we have to survive for the next few laps. We do have damage on the back, which is just recovered now. So we've got to Tidgney 1, Tidgney 2, in we go. And we are still trying to conserve tyre wear. So the GTR behind Simon there is, well, got a decent run out of Tidgney 2 here. Alongside me now as we get towards the hairpin. Hard on the brakes we go. We're on the inside. They're on the outside right now. And they're doing the exact same move I did on Norman earlier on. Beautiful move there. The GTR could do it a little bit easier because they have more power in that car. And you see it pull away nice and easy. So we're down to P10 right now. Max Power's behind us once again with Damien there as well. So I'm not sure how long I can handle this situation just due to that tyre wear. Remember, we're only on 4 laps on these tyres and we're already halfway down. We have another 4 laps to go yet. But it's going to be quite the struggle. Next lap then, at lap number 9, Max Power is still behind us. So we're doing okay so far. Max Power going for the move now, realising the situation with my tyre wear as we go into this left-hander. Max Power keeping that line. Beautiful move here by Max Power. And can we pull in behind is the question. Damien looking to actually capitalise on that as well. Max Power goes off the circuit. Damien does capitalise there, though. Good move by Damien. And we're down to P12 right now with Sparks behind us next. Still ahead of Norman, though. Norman, I think, may have had an issue somewhere. A bit further back on the old map then as we continue on through the left. Look at that side-by-side there. The 130R. Well played to these two as we go onto the brakes then. Slowing it down as we go into the left-hander. Going to accelerate out of here. Now, Sparks is in the NSX, so it gives us a bit of breathing room here because it means Sparks can't necessarily overtake on the straights. Of course, Sparks has far newer tyres than me, so it's whether I can hold him off with that in mind. So lap number 10 now. Sparks gets a good run out of Tidgney 2 here. Seems to be my kryptonite here, doesn't it, Tidgney 2, as we go on to the brakes then. Round we go. We accelerate out this corner. This time Sparks can't hold it around the outside. We do defend that and we remain in P12 for now. Then what we will do is advance a bit further on in the race. Lap number 11. The Yetis are here. Look at that tyre wear. That is very scary indeed. As we go into the left-hander, this car is really struggling now. I think Max Power's struggling as well in that GTR up ahead. They pitted a lap after me, I think it was. No, it wasn't. 2 laps after me. So you can see the difference in tyre wear then. Sparks, look at this, gets a good run out of that left-hander, realises it's not a place to overtake, backs out of it for now then, as we continue on through it. Max Power's gone off the circuit, managed to bring it back on, well held there by Max Power. In fact, I nearly followed the same place, and look at that, Tidgney 2 once again. Sparks does get me this time, and it's going to be very difficult for me to get that back. So lap number 12 here, the final lap. We've got no tyre wear on the front at all. We get to 130R. You can see we're struggling right now. Norman caught up 5 seconds in 1 lap here as we go on to the brakes, slowing the car down. I just can't turn at this moment in time. So we're going to let Norman go there because I did drive into them a little bit. Go on, let Norman go there, lift off. Now we'll continue on there. So we just have no tyre wears. We can't turn. You know, it's one of those. We're 10 seconds slower than normal. I come down at the bottom. Strategy there then. 6.6 is probably a good one. 7.5, so 7 on the medium, 5 on the soft. Probably even better, but you're going to have to time it with traffic. It's probably the best thing I can save for the strategy there at Suzuka. For me, it needs to be ×2 tyre wear. ×3, a little bit too much. How do you do a lap here at Suzuka then? We're in the GTR for this one. This one is brought to you by Coach Dave Academy and the Delta app. Make sure you do check that out in the comments. +5 brake balance. On turn number 1, the start of the curb on the inside is your brake marker. Brake just before you get to it in the GTR. If you're in the NSX, which is slightly easier to drive, brake after it leaves the screen, okay? The NSX can brake that a little bit later as it's not carrying quite as much speed. We're going to brake there, trail brake, drop to 3rd gear, then 2nd, then we're going to short shift to 3rd gear on the exit. You're going to have to be careful of oversteer on this entire lap. So going to this first one, we lift off a little bit. Accelerate, then lift. We dab the brakes here a little bit. You don't need to do that. We accelerate in 3rd, then lift off again. Up to 4th gear, and then we get to the one where you do need to brake for this one, okay? The start of the curb is your brake marker on the right-hand side. We're going to hit the brakes now. We're going to trail brake a little bit as well in 3rd gear as we go round. You want to keep a nice tight line here. You don't want to venture out to the outside of the circuit on the exit here. You want to keep a nice tight line to really maximize the next corner. So we're going to head over towards the right side. 4th gear, and a later turn in means you clip the curb. You can do it flat out. If you turn in too early there, you're going to understeer off. Just keep that in mind, okay? Heading towards Tidgney 1, then the 50 board on the left-hand side is your brake marker. You do have to brake for this. So you're going to brake and drop 1 gear only, okay? 1 gear for this corner. So the 50 board on the left is your brake marker. Don't absolutely launch it at the curb. You want to clip it slightly, but I say don't launch at it. There we go. Nice little clip. Accelerate. On the left-hand side, we have a Marshall 10. This is your brake marker for next corner. Now, you can drop to 2nd gear if you wish, or you can drop to 3rd gear and keep it there. Your choice. 3rd gear is a little bit more unstable. 2nd gets you a bit more rotation. I can't decide here. I dropped to 2nd gear initially, then 3rd gear for the exit. That seems to work out okay. Entirely your choice here then. Going to accelerate towards the hairpin then. On the left-hand side, we have the Dunlop sign. That is your brake marker for the hairpin. Now, arguably, some people will say, use the curb tidge that you've just passed. You can use that, but the Dunlop sign is a little bit later, so that means you can brake a little bit later, hopefully gain you a little bit more lap time. Hard on the brakes for this one. You're going to drop to 1st gear initially, and then more than likely you will short shift to 2nd gear. Now, in the NSX, may not have to do that. It's got longer gears. Of GTR, you definitely do have to short shift to 2nd, in my opinion. Right, we've got this gate road on the right-hand side. This is your brake marker for spoon, okay? So as you get to spoon, make sure you brake a bit earlier than you expect. Here, okay, and what we're going to do, brake and then turn in. And we want to keep it one motion. Don't stop turning here, because otherwise the weight transfer will just screw you over with understeer. So we drop to 3rd gear then, and before the end of the curb here, we need to make sure we're off it and also braking. Now for this next corner, you can drop to 2nd gear if you like, or keep it in 3rd, entirely your choice. 2nd gear will give you a bit more rotation, but it does cost you some speed. 3rd gear, you can get round, but you may suffer some understeer on exit. We do it in 3rd gear this time, and you can see how you would understeer off there onto the slippy stuff. 130R, nice and easy, just turn and yeah, go. Basically, you don't have to do anything. And finally, the Casio triangle. So on the right-hand side, we have this yellow line. It's the old pit lane, okay? The start of this is your brake marker. So obviously, it's not a very obvious brake marker, but it's one I use quite often because it's a good brake marker. So we're going to brake here at this moment in time. We're going to go down to 1st gear for the first part, okay? So that's what we're going to do. That gets us rotation. Clip the curb. Accelerate, then up to 2nd gear. Try and get on throttle to 50%. Get straight, then go to 100%. Keep towards an inside line, head towards start-finish line, and that's a 143.180. And you can follow that lap on YouTube as well. We're going to go to some bloopers now. First up, Sparks here. Look at this big old crash from Sparks. So as we go through here then, Sparks, you can see, has lost the car now at this moment in time, trying to catch it, can't do anything there. Tags me. I then try and avoid Norman. You can see the brake lights come on. The brake lights obviously cause more of a crash. Also cause Matt's power to go off. Just absolute carnage there, Sparks. But obviously, it's a clear accident there, and I appreciate you waiting up for me there. We've got aboard Max Power then, who's over that earlier incident here. So we're going to head in towards the King. What's going to happen here, Max Power? Goes on throttle and spears. Right, that looks like a weight transfer issue again in this car. So you can see the issues with this Audi TT, that is for sure. Then Max Power's over towards the right-hand side. I think taking avoiding action there to get out of the way of Ugandan. Right, next up, what's up on the bloopers? I think it's a lot of Daily Race B. So first on Max Power again here. Got into here, just clips that barrier on the right-hand side. Don't do that. Everybody get close, but not that close. We jumped on board Ugandans. This is me just completely outbraking himself, trying to get out of the way. Notice how I accelerated there to get out of the way Ugandan. And Ugandan saw it as well, so really good awareness there from you. So we've got on board Bembo then for turn number 1 as we go into here. Got Sammy Snake on the inside. Accelerate out. Oh, the smallest of tags there from the McLaren. Sends the other McLaren spinning there. I probably should have waited for that one, Charles, to be honest with you. Next up then, the Italian in the Lamborghini as we go through here. Oh, gets a bit of oversteer, so loses it from the podium position. Does carry on, but I swear they did actually crash later on. We'll come back to that, I suppose. Next up then, we got Sammy Snake here in towards the left-hander. Oh, completely outbrakes himself. That's why the 4-second penalty was applied, and waits for Norman there. Awesome sportsmanship. You can check out Sammy Snake on YouTube, of course, as Sammy is just waiting there at the 4-second penalty. Yes, here he is, the Italian. So they crashed multiple times. So the Lamborghini, I want to keep saying Hungarian for some reason. The Lamborghini is not the car for Watkins Glen. We can confirm that right now. We're seeing it right here with 2 bloopers. Next up then, Daily Race C. So just look at this. Look how far behind Shadow I actually am here. So, yeah, what would you do in that situation? Now, I only know now, looking back at it, that technically was me, but not me. But should you wait? No, wait. I don't think somebody should wait in that scenario because it's not their fault. They've not done anything. They're just driving. Shadow, unfortunately, clips the slippy stuff there and goes for a spin. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, stay in touch with all the latest content. But that is going to be it for me now, folks. Do check out my partners down below. We've got Fanatec, we've got GT Amiga, and Coach Dave Academy. 2 videos there to check out as well. Coach Dave Academy did support this video as well, so make sure you do check them out. It will help you improve your times. A big thank you for watching as always, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.